And so I've never lived in Paisley, although I've lived all around Paisley, Johnstone, Renfrewshire, etc. But lots of the big milestones in my life involved Paisley. Don't know if that makes sense. So what comes to mind first off is my first independent bus ride when I was about 11 or 12 was because I used to swim for Paisley Amateurs, and the old swimming baths at the bottom of New Street, I want to say, where Paisley Uni is now. And I was allowed to come in the bus to do my training in the morning from Johnstone to swim there when I was about 10 or 11. So that's quite interesting. That was my first probably. And then when I left school I went to Paisley Uni, as it was. In fact it was called Paisley College of Technology. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's how old I am. I went there and did my first degree, and then that was a maths thing and I didn't know what to do with that, to be honest. So I then went into nursing and I trained in the R.A.H. the very first day it opened. I was part of the first class that went in there to train. I trained as a nurse in there, and then as part of that I went back to Paisley Uni when it had become a uni and did my nursing degree. It's interesting, they're all milestones associated with Paisley, isn't it? And most of my socialising over my 20s and 30s would have happened in Paisley at the time when it was the place to be, the Toledo Junction days and all that, when it had the best nightlife. And it was always brilliant for shopping, Skirt and Slack Centre. What was the shop at the Piazza? Riggs, where they had posh things that you could buy in, so you were only allowed to go there once in a blue moon because it was a wee bit expensive, but mostly it was all the other ones. But it was vibrant, it was like a busy big, it was like a cool place to be. It felt like the big town. No one would have gone to Glasgow in those days. That would have been a really fancy night out and stuff like that. And probably then when I changed my career and went to work in the government in Edinburgh, and then I feel like I probably lost Paisley a wee bit as I spread my wings, learned loads of stuff, worked in loads of different places, and then missed the kind of the sense of community in this area in Paisley, and came back to the R.A.H. 8 years ago and worked there for 5 years before I came to work in Accord, which was 3 years ago. So it's like the start and end of my career and of my education were all in Paisley. And I learned loads of stuff in the middle that's helped me bring lots of stuff back into the area. Does that make sense?
Amazing.
So I think of Paisley as my home turf, and I would say to people, this is my kind of, what would you have called it when you were younger? This was my turf, this is where I used to cut about when I was younger, so I kind of class it as my place. So I suppose big milestones. My parents both died in Paisley in the R.A.H. And lots of my friends are from Paisley, so it's a massive big part of who I am, even though I've never lived in it, probably. If anything now, it saddens me slightly that it feels like it lost its sense of community centre. But the bit that I've enjoyed by being in the hospice is I have learned so much about what's around in Paisley as an area to support the people that live here, people that move here, everybody. And actually I'm blown away by just how much love and kindness there is around this area. It's not like that in other places I've been, worked or lived. I lived in Bobbins Mill at a point, in a flat in the old counting house part of the mill, one of the mills in Paisley. So at that point you felt steeped in a lot of the heritage of Paisley and Paisley pattern, and obviously some of Accord's logos got Paisley pattern in it as a nod back to what Paisley was kind of known and renowned for. So I think we probably punch above our weight in Paisley more than people realise. It's given me a safe space to grow and be sociable and learn how to get drunk and fall down and stand back up again. A great sense of community now and at this age, I would say, in work, particularly now. I don't feel like I only work for Accord, I always feel like I work for this whole area because of the connections I've made with people. So that's and Paisley's the right size for that. Big enough to have everything you need, small enough to be able to still touch everything, which I quite like. Obviously from an educational point of view, I've got 3 different degrees and they're all from Paisley Uni, interestingly, even though I've lived and worked in loads of places. So it's brought me my educational opportunity, brought me loads of my best friends, brought me my husband, my partner. So there you go, quite a lot, eh?
Yeah.
Wee Archie's from Edinburgh, to be fair. The wee dog didn't come from Paisley, but he behaves like a Paisley boy, so he's okay. He's quite cool. I remember coming out of a nightclub that I can't remember the name of. Was it Paris? In Silk Street? Right, and it was really cool. And I used to go there with my pals when I was about 20. And I fancied one of the bouncers who was really nice. And as long as I was promised him that I would let him take me home at the end of the night, he would let us in without paying, right? And I never let him take me home. And it was a game we played every single week. He's like, I'll see you at the end of the night, and then we dodged him the whole night. But I remember one particular night coming out of that nightclub and pushing one of my friends home, and I supermarket trolley, right? It's a classic back in the day, sorry to say. And one of my friends says, I need to go to the loo. And I said, well, we'll just go in there. Well, we're not going into the police. I said, come on, they're there, they're standing at reception, they'll be happy to help, we're safe, we're young girls, no problem. So we walk in, there's the classic old desk sergeant grumpy man standing, and we're like this, hi, you know, can we use your toilet? And he kind of looks at us like this, and he goes away down under the desk for something, and we all think, he's going for a gun, what's he going to do? And he comes up with a roll of Andrex and says, take that girl, she'll be wanting to use that. You shouldn't be using the toilet paper that these boys use in these toilets. And he gave us a beautiful roll of pink Andrex toilet roll and said, on you go now, safe. Do you need a lift up the road? That's Paisley for you. Isn't that a great story? You know, so I still to this day bump into people that I would have called a Paisley boy or a Paisley girl. I mean, do you remember him? He was a Paisley boy. You know, so people that, so it's almost like people go away and come back, people don't leave. So you kind of get to know the usual suspects, don't you? So there's a kind of wee thread that, and there's the 6 degrees of separation thing. So everybody knows somebody, or if you mention a name, somebody will know them. So it's a kind of community, even though it's quite a big town. Is that, I would say so, from a particular experience of working here. So working in the NHS, you don't see as much absolute kindness because it's a different environment, isn't it? But here, the thing that blows me away every single day, in fact I was telling someone it this morning, is the absolute kindness of the people of Paisley. So Accord is classed as one of the jewels of Paisley. It's like a wee precious thing that we must hold tightly, and I feel like I've got this guardian's job and I hold it every day. I've got to be really careful when I'll hand it on at some point to the next guardian. And that's only made possible because everybody out there looks at it like it's that precious, and they provide for it. So the people that give us our funds are not the people that are always the affluent ones. Yesterday, 3 wee girls walked up from that estate where they'd baked cupcakes and sold them at school to give me the £6.75 that they wanted to get the patients at, right? So that plus 257 people that are walking on Sunday, the kilt walk for Accord, you know, a lot of them will be from Paisley, or a lot of them are people who don't live in Paisley now but will have been here at some point or have had family here. 257 people, we've got, I don't know, 40 grand already raised. That's the kindness of Paisley, and that's for us because we're in it. Isn't that amazing? That's the kind of thing that makes Paisley special to me. I don't know if other towns have that. Maybe they do, maybe it's just the right size, but I suppose I see the kindness of Paisley people now that I live in it, now that I work in it like this, and I rely on it so much, and we've never been more carefully held than we are now financially by the people of Paisley. They're amazing. And other areas as well around, but you know, predominantly Paisley, Accord and Paisley are synonymous. Isn't it lovely?